Cayman Islanders, welcome back. Today Sam and I wanted to share with you a project that we did recently, which was moving our chick brooder out to the barn so that it's no longer inside the house, which will be for the first time since we very first had chickens in about 2017-ish. Since it's been in our house since then, which comes with its own drawbacks, the smell, the dust, you name it. Anyway, I was ready for them to get out. Chicks in their very first 4 weeks of life, they have to live in a very special environment. It's protected, very warm, almost up to 99 degrees Fahrenheit, if you will. And yeah, putting live animals in the house when they're pooping in there for 3 to 4 weeks can be very stinky, and chicks are surprisingly really dusty. So we decided to move the brooder out, but more importantly, I wanted to show you guys the design that we have finalized for the brooder because it is a super good design. We have very high survival rates for our chicks because of this, and it's super efficient. So and by we I mean Sam designed the brooder to be able to be very quickly put up and taken down for storage. I don't think we're going to use it that way anymore. We're probably going to keep it up year round, but that's originally how we designed it. Right now you'll see him cutting pieces of wood for the frame. We're moving the brooder into the farrowing pen for the pigs, so we need to put it up off the floor so that they can't get to it, and also so that when it rains, because our barn floods, we want to keep the wood nice and protected so that it's not rotting. So he's finishing up cutting here, and then we're going to move to the barn where you should be able to see that he's already sort of started on the frame. So there we go. So he's building the frame right now, and he's getting ready to have to cut a bunch of boards for the cross bracing. So we started putting up the boards, or we were going to start, and Sam got the brilliant idea to go ahead and measure out where they need to go and then go ahead and put the screws in, which makes it super fast work so that when we do get the boards ready to screw in, they're all right there and ready for us. So we start screwing in all the boards, and we get to the very last one, and you'll notice that we have a board over here on the corner that's holding up the frame. So we had to build the legs for it, and that's what Sam's doing right now. He used 3 pieces of 2x4s, screwed them together, and then that's what we're going to use to brace up that corner as the leg. And once that's in place, we can go ahead and put the last crossboard in. So there's Riley being a big help. And then very shortly after we got done, the kids were like, I am hungry. It is lunchtime. Take me inside right now. So I had to grab the kids. They go out for lunch. Sam finished up putting a few more screws into places so that when we were done with lunch, we could just come out and start putting in the brooder. At this point, the kids are asleep inside. Well, all except the baby, who you see sitting here in the playpen, and we start moving in the pieces of the brooder. So this is what we really wanted to share with you. The bottom of the brooder is nothing more than just a 4x8 piece of plywood. Very easy. The sides, we cut a 4x8 piece of plywood in half. And then the other 2 sides are the same height as the half piece of plywood, but obviously they're only 4 foot long. On each of those sides we have a 2x4 with chamfered edges so that we can screw them together. And really the 2x4 was to add a little bit of support. We used to ratchet strap these together to make it very quick and easy to take down, but we found over time that it wasn't very much support. So now we've switched to just using a screw, so you only need 1 screw per corner, so it's like 4 screws. The baby started crying, so here I am trying to entertain the baby while holding up the piece of plywood for Daddy so that he could finish doing what he's doing. So once we get that attached, we go ahead and slide it over, get the new edge in, get that attached, and then we'll bring in the top. It's kind of funky the way we had it set up. The left side is where you can open it and close it to refill the feeders and the waterers, or to catch a chick if you want to pet one. The other end closest to me, it has a cutout, you may notice. That was so that we could put a box fan on it, face it up so that it created a vacuum, and we used to put a filter under that fan. So that was to help filter out the smell and the dust when we had that inside, but now that we're going to be outside, we don't really need that anymore. So we did cover up the window screening with the, I forget what that's called, but the tiny metal squares to make sure that the rats stay out, and any other you know, animals that happen to get into the barn, but mostly right now it's the rats that we're having issues with. We bring in the last board, and this one is barely going to fit on the side of that piece of plywood, so we really have to hold it in place while Sam attaches it. And if you notice the other 2x4 is sticking out, this was for us to put pieces of, I think we just used rebar down inside of it so that we could attach the heating lamps to the brooder. And the brooder is very massive, as you can see, so sometimes we needed 2 heating lamps to be able to maintain the temperature that we needed. So we would have 2 posts, 2 heating lamps, and the fan all hooked up there. But we've since switched to something else, which I'll show you in a second. So right now what Sam is doing, we need a way to hold open the lid, and so he attached a just an S-hook to the top. We don't have a massive hatch, and even when we do, we like to start the first few weeks out in just half of the brooder. Chicks, and especially like baby turkeys and things, are very ignorant, and they will not be able to find the food even if it's just on the other side of the brooder. So we use this removable screen to just use half of the brooder for now. And then once I did that, the kids were like, ooh, mommy's inside the brooder. So then they wanted to join. And then it was just a matter of adding everything so that we could get the chicks outside. Sam handed me the pine shavings, and then the kids helped me spread that out. Sam actually had to step out for a second because he has really bad allergies. And look what William does. He's so mad that we put him out that he found a dirty diaper and threw it at the camera. So yeah, toddler stinky boys is totally a thing. So after this, we basically just have to get everything in for the chicks. So we have to get the water, we have to get the heat source, and we have to get the food sources. So for water, we use this massive one, and we hang it up so that the chicks don't get it dirty with wood chips. The feeders you can see in my hand. And this is a heat plate. It works so much more efficiently than a heat lamp, and you don't have to worry about it catching anything on fire. When the chicks are cold, they go underneath it. When they're hot, they leave. It adjusts to the size of the chicks. And we find that it makes them a lot more accustomed to the way that it is in nature for when they're ready to come out of the brooder. So we really think that that was a great investment on our part. Lastly, you're going to see me wheeling in the heavy barrel that we use to store the chick feed, just so that it's right there for super convenient use. And the whole time that we've been working up to this point, there's this little bird. It keeps going in and out and in and out of the barn stall, and finally we looked up and we realized why. So she had a nest up there and the babies were hungry. We have several different varieties of chicks that we just hatched in our own incubator that we are out in our brooder right now. So this first one's the yellow floofies. They are New Hampshire red. Those are our meat chickens. These next ones are Wyandottes. We have the option for 2 different varieties. We have a red laced gold Wyandotte and hopefully a blue laced gold Wyandotte. The last variety we have are Easter eggers and olive eggers. So these will lay either blue-ish green or just green eggs. And the kids wanted to help me put all of them in. We have about 27 right now, I do believe, 16 of which are meat chickens. And here's the final look. So this is what it looks like on the inside. We've got 2 feeders up. You have the boards to try and keep the wood chips out of them, the heat plate, the water. And what do you guys think? As I mentioned, this is the design that we've had the best luck with, the most survival rate in terms of the chicks, and is the easiest to clean up, the easiest to set up, and really we like it. So what do you guys think? Do you think that you could use a design like this on your farm? Do you think the chicks like it? I think they do.
Why is it coming back towards the camera?
Mm-hmm.